Hi everyone, Emma here. I'm so excited to show you how to make this lovely bracelet using tubular chenille. So for this bracelet, what I did was I thought normally you start tubular chenille with 8 beads and then you add your alternate bead around it. And I thought, what would happen if I added 2 extra beads? So go to 10. So let me see. Let's take a look at this one here that we made. You know what? I'm going to pull out a different one actually, because I want to show the difference that 2 beads make in the end. So let's try this one. So this one here is all done with 11/0 rokai. So this is basically the same type of beads, so the same shape and size. And you can see how this is with the 8 beads in your start and all the way through. And this gives you 10. So you can see quite a difference. So if there's something you want to do, initially I thought this would be great for a necklace. And what I thought I would do is attach chain on either side. So even if we did this is part of the clasp that I'm going to use for this as a bracelet. But you could do something like this and then attach chain to this part here and make this a necklace. You could always add something here, maybe another little strip of tubular chenille and a pendant, all kinds of stuff you can do, and we'll try and get to some of them. If you're interested, let me know. So the other kind of difference that I did was I wanted to add some different elements to the tubular chenille. So I'm just noticing the bead is behind the thread. It's amazing what you see in a video. Don't look at the mistakes. So yeah, I have these. These are like 2x2 crystal beads that I get on BB Craft. They have a bunch of different colors. I actually have like a big box. I bought a whole bunch just before Christmas of every color I could find. And these are really lovely. They are not totally consistent in their shapes, but they're small enough that you don't notice it in a design. So, and they're super cheap. They're like $2 for 50 grams. So great deal. So yeah, I interspersed it. I changed how many, I put a few more towards the middle and then space them out here. So I thought we'd just do a quick little tubular chenille with the 8 beads to show you. Maybe do 2 rows of the gold and then the 2 rows of the crystals to get an idea what it looks like, how to put it together. And then we'll finish off this one here with the other side of this clasp. So these clasps, I can't remember if I got them on AliExpress or BB Craft. If you're interested, just ask and I'll look it up and put it in the description. So it's, you know what, I'm starting to get so many supplies when it comes to class that I can't remember who I bought them from. Okay, so again, the thread, I'm using good thread from John Bead, and I color my thread to whatever I'm working with. So for this design, I did a yellow Sharpie marker, and you cannot see the thread at all. I have done it with the white thread, and you can see the thread. So it's my go-to now, and this is so affordable. So we won't do a whole bunch here of thread for this. Yeah, so you need, let's we're going to use a size 12 needle, some 15 seed beads. I find the 15 seed beads instead of an 11 for your alternate bead. I find it makes this a little more compact and close together. So it really shows off the shape of the tubular. And you can see, I'll show you, because of it being bigger in the sense using 10 beads instead of 8, you can see how it doesn't quite want to go any further than that. But of course, this is perfect for your wrist. My wrist is small, so this actually, you get a bit of kind of folding in. If you're concerned about that, you can actually put, let me see, this is a 6mm pearl. You could put a 4mm pearl as you're beading your rope in different strategic areas. You don't have to put them all the way through, and it will hold its shape. But as far as this goes, it will be fine. So you need a clasp. You need a 11 bead. This is Silk Light Gold. So let's move this up here. Let's put some of these out. That's probably all we need. And 15 and some crystals. So I thought this color was pink until I showed a friend. She's like, that's a beautiful orange bracelet. I'm like, orange? And yeah, it's orange. No discussion there. So let's go ahead and take my little card here to dye my thread. So just take the end, put your marker on top of the thread and pull it through. If you go a little slower, you'll get a darker color. If you go fast, you get a lighter color. If you go a second time, you'll get even darker color. So, you have options. And so far, the thread has really held up. So super stoked for this trick. I'm going to tilt the camera so you can see my hands. So I hope everybody's getting back to normal after the holidays and you're not too cold. There's been a cold snap up here, so we're just staying warm. And I don't worry about the end piece that's through my needle because it's not going to be used. It's like that. Jeez, it's weird working with so little thread. I'm getting nervous. So just pick up 10. There's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's what you have. Bring that down to the bottom. And we're going to leave a bit of a tail so we can hang on to it. Somebody mentioned using a skewer or maybe a chopstick to hold it. Those are all, or a knitting needle. Those are all really good suggestions. And I'm just going to pass through 2 more. Bring that through. That. Just like that. And let's move these up a bit. I'm running out of bead mat like always. Okay, and I want to enlarge this for you. And make sure you can see that. So now we've got our main beads. There's 10 of them. We're going to start placing our 15-0, our alternate bead, in between. We're going to pass through 2 of the 11-0s and pop that in there. Pick up another 15-0, go through the next 2. Make sure that beads turn the right way. Another 15-0, pass through 2 11-0s. Pop it in there. Another 15-0. Let me flip this. It's not liking it. There. So go through 2. That. And one more. Pass through the 2 11-0s. And now we're going to step up, the 2 11-0s, and we're going to step up through the 15. I don't feel like that's in focus. Okay. Pop those in, so that's what you have. I'm just trying to check the focus on the camera. So now what we want to do is we put our 11-0s in between the 15-0s all the way around. So we pick up 2. Go through the next. Pick up 2, go through the next 15-0. That. And those will eventually move up. So you could essentially go even bigger than the 10. I definitely think if you do go to say 12 or 14 beads to start, you probably want to add some type of bead inside to keep the shape, the tubular shape. But that's not a big deal. I mean, you could do some really cool stuff going, bigger. Let's put our last 2 11-0s. So you're coming out of this 15-0. You're going to go into this 15-0, but you're going to keep your needle on an angle, and you're going to go through the first 11-0 that we added on the previous row. Now you can try and push those together while you're tightening. It doesn't always work at this point, but it will when we start adding. We're going to add 15-0 beads in between each of those 11-0s that are sitting there. So let's go ahead. 15-0. You're going to go through the first 11-0 there. You're going to skip that lower 15-0 and go through the next 11-0, positioning your needle in between the 2. My needle's sliding on that 15-0. It's blocking. There we go. And this should start to pull it in. See how that pulls that in? Again, you can just leave it, and when we get around near the end, we can start to pull it tight. So 15-0, put it in between these 2 11-0s. So put your needle through that 11-0, skip that lower row, and go through the next 11-0 in the set. And pull it tight. You see how it's starting to come up. It's really pretty, and even the design when it's flat is really cool. Like you could just take this and do something totally different, put like a bigger crystal in here and just build out a flat design that you can use as a pendant. Like it's really pretty. So go through your next two 11-0s like that. And pull it in. Next 15-0. Grab hold here. Go through the two 11-0s. And pull that tight. So you see? How lovely is that? Okay, so there's the last one here. 15-0. You're going to go through this 11-0, this 11-0, and then we're going to step up, and I apologize, it's super tiny, the 15-0 right here. And we'll be ready for our next row. And if you can't get it in one try, just do it in two parts. And then this gives you the opportunity to tighten as well. It's like that. So let's do another set, and then we'll move up to the crystals so you can get an idea what they look like. So now we're at the point of the 15-0s. So when I do these, I look at it, okay, what row am I on? I'm on a 15-0 row. That means I have to put two 11-0s in between all of these 15-0s. So again, super simple. Not a lot of attention to this. You're just popping those in there. Getting ready for the next row. Go to the next 15-0. Two 11-0s. We're coming out of this 15-0. We're going into this 15-0. Two 11-0s. Coming out of 15-0 here, going into this one on the next set of beads. Two 15-0s. Sorry, two 11-0s. And this is our final set. So we're going to step up into the other beads. So we're going into this 15-0 here, this tiny one, but we're going to bring our needle up on an angle to go through the 11-0. So for this design, I recommend that you add your crystals after you've done a 15-0 row. And that way it gives you these little, kind of like an X pattern. And this is really not in focus. So there's your last row of 15-0s. You add your crystals and it gives you the X pattern. So that's important if you miscount how many rows you put in your spacing. Make sure you start with, you've got a 15-0 row there to add your crystals. If you're doing more rows, you could do it differently, but I still feel like that's where you want to put things. So 15-0, pick up the two next 11-0s. 15-0, I'm going to go a little faster now. If you need more different description on how to do this, definitely I've done a few videos now, and I know that this is a bit of a repetition, but I feel like jumping up from 8 beads to start to the 10 is really important to let people know that it works. So you can, you could do some really cool stuff with it. Don't limit yourself to the same design all the time. You know what? When I was in school, all through like grade school, I think even in high school, I was always, if the teacher would give an example, okay, this is what I want you to do, I would always push the envelope and say, okay, I'm going to follow the brief, but, you know me. Emma's got to add the bling. Okay, so we're ending with that 15-0 row. And let me see if you can see it a bit. So let's put our crystals on. So now we're going to put 2 crystals in between. Now the fun part to these crystals, and I'm being sarcastic, is finding the holes because they are faceted. It's really hard to see where the hole is on your bead mat. Maybe if it was a white bead mat, you could see it better. So going from this 15-0 to that 15-0 with your 2 crystals. And here is another tip. Depending on your color of your crystal, you're going to want to think about what color thread you want, because these are super dark, so you can't see the yellow thread in this. But if they were lighter, you might see, like, the yellow might change the color a bit, so just be aware of that. I think I had some pink ones, and I didn't realize how pale the pink was until I put it in a design and I had white thread, and you could see the white thread through it. I was not happy. It's your next 2 crystals. There, 2 more. Okay, so now we're going to go through that 15 and we're going to hook into the first crystal that we added, positioning ourselves in between the sets of 2 crystals, and we're going to put a 15-0 row in there. Pick up a 15-0, grab the 2 next crystals, 15-0, 2 next crystals, this gives it a really elegant feel. So you know what? I was looking up different designs with tubular chenille, and I found some designs, and I want you to let me know if you've heard of these designs or seen a video where they use like pearls and maybe an O bead as the alternate, and they do tubular chenille. Now I have the elements for that, so that's going to be my next attempt, but I don't know how that's going to work. So I just tell you that because to me it's fun to really try and figure out new ideas. I get so excited. So this is our last one, so we're going to go through our 15-0 and pop those in there. So now we're going to put 1 more row of the crystals. So pick up 2 coming out of this 15, go into the next 15. Two more crystals. Go through the next 15. So I did find a way to find the hole in these crystals, and that's to roll your needle over the bead, the crystal, and usually it will pop in the hole. That's after doing this a few hundred times. I've used these beads in a lot of designs. These are probably one of my favorite crystals. I think because I do so much bead weaving that I like the idea of taking so much sparkle. It's very sparkly. So there's our 2, and that's going to give us our, you can see from this side to this side, the little X pattern. So now we're going to put a 15-0 row, and then we'll do our 11-0 regular beads. So go through 2 of the crystals, skipping that lower 15-0. And I talked about this in another video, and I was really glad that somebody mentioned. And if I make a reference to one of your comments and I don't say your name, it's not because I don't appreciate it. It's I cannot remember names, which is weird because I worked a lot in psychiatry and the patients don't wear armbands. And so you have to remember names. I can't remember names now, so I'm really sorry. But she mentioned that she did try. There was some videos out there where, so you can see the thread in between these 2 crystals. You can see the thread. But when you pull it tight, you don't see it. What they did in the video is they, instead of going straight across to the other crystal, they actually went down to the lower 15-0 and put their thread there. But I find, let's get that one popped in the right way here. There. I find by putting your thread here in between the 2 crystals, it actually pulls those crystals together. So, but she was saying that she had tried it and she said it was a mess. I think I tried it for like one set like this, and right away I realized it wasn't going to work. So I took it apart. If you've done it successfully, let me know. I'm really curious. You can always send me a picture of what you're working on. You know, I mentioned that a lot. My email is in on my channel in the About section. I tell people that all the time. And surprisingly, I don't get a lot of emails. At first, I was like, oh, I don't know, I might get a whole bunch of people emailing me, but nope. Yeah, people are busy. They don't want to bother you. Now, look at how amazing this is. This is so lovely. I think I forgot, I should have done a different color. I wanted to try, I have some dark blue ones. So now we're going to go back to the regular 11-0 beads. Yeah, the dark blue would look amazing in this. Maybe I'll have to come up with, I put 3 beads on there. That's a whole other pattern. This design I just love. I think I kind of like structural stuff, so I feel like the tubular, because it holds its shape pretty well, it feels very structural, so it's very cool. So there's our last set of 2 beads. So we'll do a 15 and we'll do the last row, and I'll go a little quicker. Again, if you need more, step by step, definitely look at the other videos. There's a few of them. They're done with bright colored beads. You can see them easier. My kitty cat is asleep in his cave in my office. Last night we stayed up a little later than usual and he wanted us to go to bed. Normally he sits on the landing to the stairs for us to go to bed. And he came over to the couch and started getting into things, and like he is totally doing that to get us up there. So let's just do this last row and I'll show you how to put the clasp on. So you could do this all the way through the whole design. You could do 2 rows of the crystals, 2 rows of the gold beads, all the way through. That'd be cool. You could do some like summer designs where you use all white beads and then intersperse them with, say, a blue stripe or a lime green stripe, kind of sporty looking, summery or bright pink stripe in there. This one's must have been a bit tight there, yeah. There. So that is amazing. So lovely. So there's your 10 bead start. You could actually create, this could be a bead. So you could finish this off just with 1 more row on this side. And you could have this as a bead on, say, a leather bracelet or a chain, kind of like Pandora beads situation, like a tube bead. So yeah, that is so much fun. So let me grab this needle. We'll put this guy on. So what I did for this, these clasps have a bar and they have a hole. You can see the hole down in there. And I'm going to open this. You can see the hole there. So you can pass your needle through like that on an angle. And then when you come around the other side, you make sure you go on the other side of the bar. If you miss it and go on the same side, not to worry, it'll just pop off. The thread won't be attached to the strand. So, and because these are rounded, I like to put it on a bead. Now, normally I would attach the bead. In this case, it's a Swarovski pearl, 6mm. Normally, I would attach it this way to the bracelet so the thread goes through this way. But then you see the thread and you see the holes of the pearl. So what I did was I actually strung it this way with the hole up and down so that it went across the bar and in. And I went around a few times at these different beads to get it so that it was even. So let's put this on. Let me cut this. The thread's still, yeah, it looks like might have been from pulling it off the first needle. It's untwisted. Let me see if I can grab that with my nail. There we go. That doesn't look right. Yeah, it didn't go through all of them. Okay, let's cut that off. I'm going to cut it down here. sometimes threading doesn't go as planned. And you know what? My eyesight is getting worse every day. I'm going to have to start threading these off camera. Nope. This is not because of the thread. It's because I, you know, use this for quite a bit of the bracelet. So sometimes it gets untwisted. There. Thank you for your patience. Now to our regularly scheduled show. So just coming out of one of the beads, I'm just going to put my pearl on and then go through and then come down the other side. So I just kind of angle my needle. You can kind of look where you're going. Just make sure you don't hook onto your clasp. There we go. Pull that all the way down. This first one, you see how it's right near the bead. You want to make sure that you have it kind of centered so it's a little bit loose, and you can always tighten after. And I would go directly across to one of these beads here. That. Pull your thread. So you see, it doesn't matter if it's loose. It's all gonna, now you can kind of position it in the middle. That. Yeah, I'm gonna go around, go through 2 beads like that. Go back up. And when you come out of the pearl, angle it so that it goes on one side of the bar. There, yeah, it went through. So now go bring your needle to the other side of the bar and back through. Yeah, that one came off the bar, so I hadn't crossed over all the way. So like that. And we're gonna take it to that side, then go through the pearl. Okay, now we're gonna get it nice and snuggaroo. I'm gonna go to the next bead and go through 2 beads. Do that all the way around, and it'll eventually get nice and snug. Through the pearl. There. Let's pull this back. I'm gonna try and go to the other side. And then through the pearl. A little bit of maneuvering your needle. If you're doing it blind now. Go through here. usually goes on a little easier than that. Now, let me see. I think the end piece, because this was the starting point, is a little tighter. So this feels a bit loose in here. So you might want to use a pearl inside it to keep its shape. But I think we'll have the same effect once we get around all of these. Yeah, I think we're fine. There. Hold this. Bring it to the front. There we go. No. Wow, this is really not usually this difficult. Oh, that's amazing. It just like popped in all of a sudden. I find, you tell me what you think. I cannot believe you can make a bracelet in an hour, and then it takes you half an hour to put the clasp on. I don't get it. Why? So let's just go through these last beads to get them nice and secure. Go through. Like that. I wish I had some music for you. I don't know how the other beaders do it with the music. Even some of the copyright free music that you can get from YouTube to put on your videos. I had a video and I used that, and I got a message saying that I had to take it off because it was copyrighted. And I was like, well, it said it was free. You told me it was free. So there we go. This is a little like moving a bit, but so now I'm just going to slide this over down a few beads and tie it off. Let's go through here. Keep that from hooking. That. So I like to find a thread bridge just before the largest bead, which is a joke because the largest bead in this case is an 11/0. So I'm going to go around twice. If you went around once, it would be fine. But I like to, get a little bit of insurance here. So then go through that 11/0 on an angle through the 15, through the next 11/0 like that. And just unhook that. Of course, it's all the way around. the whole clasp. Today's not my day. What do you think? I can't get any slack because I have a knot. Let me see if I pull the other side. There we go. Oh, for heaven's sake. There. So if you're wondering, sometimes I don't do the clasp on the videos. This is why. It's like, why does it have to take that long? So this bracelet is the size for my wrist, which is 5 3/4. But this like took me an hour to do this bead weaving. And in case you're wondering, I think maybe 4 wingspans of thread, 3 to 4, like I think you'd get about maybe to about here on one wingspan. So I think my thread was really long at the end, so that was probably the 4th one on the end. But this is how lovely. This is my Barbie bracelet because my wrists are so small, like Barbies. Ta-da! I hope this was helpful. I apologize. It's not kind of like the a little more polished that I do, but yeah, we have those days, right? But I really wanted to show you that you can jump up from 8 beads on a start to the 10 and what crazy designs you can make with it. So there you go. And here's the other thing. Doing a class for a tubular design, there's really not a lot of clasps out there. So that's why I kind of thought, let me try a pearl. It worked. I feel like it's not as polished as I would like it around. You can maybe add another row or 2 so that your pearl is coming out of the design instead. But I mean, it still looks pretty awesome. There you go. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.